It was supposed to be an ordinary day. The streets were half empty. The sun rested gently on the rooftops, and he was caught up in his usual routine. But fate doesn't care much for routines. That's when he noticed her. A little girl, standing at the edge of the street, hair tangled, eyes wide with something that looked a lot like fear. Her steps were uncertain, her clothes slightly dirty. She looked lost. Alone. No parents, no guardians, no one searching for her. Just her small frame in the middle of a world too big. Moments like that twist something inside you. The first instinct is to ask, who is she? Where has she come from? Why is she alone? His feet slowed, then stopped altogether. A strange heaviness filled his chest. Something about those wide, silent eyes made it impossible to just walk past. He approached her carefully, voice soft, asking where her parents were, where she lived. No response. The little girl just stared at him, as if weighing his soul. Compassion won over doubt. He couldn't just leave her there, not when she looked so fragile, so vulnerable. So he did what any decent person might. He brought her home. He gave her food, warm water, and a bed to rest in. But that night, things started to feel different. The house creaked in ways it hadn't before. The door seemed to rattle against a wind that wasn't there. A sudden chill passed through the room, and the girl, lying quietly on the bed, breathed too heavily, too unnaturally. It was subtle, but enough to gnaw at the back of his mind. The next morning, everything seemed normal again. The child sat silently at the table, eating like nothing had happened. He shook off the unease. Maybe it was his imagination, nerves playing tricks, yet something stayed lodged in him, like a stone at the bottom of a pond. The neighbors noticed the girl too. Some thought she was an orphan. Others whispered maybe she had run away after some terrible accident. But no one could say for sure. The mystery clung to her like a shadow. That night, it happened again. Faint noises in the corners of the room, whispers in the dark. The window was locked, the door bolted, but the air moved like someone else was inside. He opened his eyes once, only to see her, not asleep, not dreaming, but lying with her eyes half open, staring straight at him. A jolt of fear ran through him. Still, he forced himself to stay calm. If she's just a lost child, what sense is there in being afraid? But another thought pressed in. And if she isn't? That was the first of 3 nights. 3 nights that would test him in ways he never expected. 3 nights that would reveal who was truly being watched. By the 3rd day, the strangeness was undeniable. He heard whispers when he was alone, like voices slipping under the door. Sometimes his name, sometimes words he couldn't make out. Once, he swore he saw a shadow flit across the wall, only to vanish when he turned. And the girl's silence pressed heavier than ever. She seemed too calm, too knowing. Her presence no longer felt like someone seeking help. It felt like someone observing. Inside him, a war raged. Was this child a blessing or a curse? Was she sent to him as a burden, or as a test? Each moment around her demanded patience, demanded faith. He found himself asking, do I protect her no matter what? Or do I push her away before something worse happens? That night, sleep finally took him, and with it came a dream. He was standing on a dark, endless path. In front of him, bathed in a pale glow, was the girl. She spoke for the first time, her voice echoing as though carried by 1,000 winds. This was never about me. This is your trial. The one who shelters the lost does not just save another. He saves himself. He woke with his heart pounding, the words still echoing in his ears. When he looked for the girl the next morning, she was gone. The bed was neat, the chair empty, no sign she had ever been there at all. He searched every corner of the house, every street nearby, but she had vanished as mysteriously as she had arrived. And strangely, he felt no panic. No sorrow. Instead, there was a deep calm in his chest, as if he finally understood. She was never meant to stay. She had come only for those 3 nights, to show him something about himself, to remind him that compassion is never wasted, even when it comes wrapped in fear. The neighbors speculated endlessly. Some insisted relatives must have collected her. Others whispered darker theories. But he said nothing, because he knew that what he had witnessed wasn't meant to be explained. It was meant to be lived. Those 3 days left him changed. Before, he'd lived a small life, caring only for his own needs. Afterward, he walked with a quiet strength. He looked at strangers differently. Anyone who crossed his path might be more than they seemed. The lesson was simple, but it carved itself into him. Every encounter is a test. Every person in need is a mirror. And often, when we think we're the ones helping, we're actually the ones being measured.